2010 Honda Civic engine mount unboxing and install. In your kit, you'll have the lower engine mount, front right engine mount, upper mount, and transmission mount. Tools required for replacing the full set of engine mounts on a 2010 Civic: 1/2-inch electric impact, 1/2-inch pneumatic ratchet wrench, 3/8 ratchet, 1/2-inch short extension, 1/2-inch long extension, a pry tool, 1/2-inch torque wrench, 3/8 10mm socket, 3/8 8mm socket, 3/8 to 1/2-inch adapter, 1/2-inch 10mm socket, 1/2-inch 14mm socket, 1/2-inch 17mm deep socket, 1/2-inch 19mm deep socket, and a floor jack to assist installing the engine mounts. Open the hood and set the prop rod. Use a 10mm socket with a 1/2-inch impact to remove the mounting bolt of the AC low pressure line. Using the same 10mm socket with a large electric impact wrench, remove the grounding strap bolt on the mount. With a 17mm deep socket on the impact, remove the engine mount bolt. Moving to the other side of the mount, remove the second 17mm bolt. Add an extension to the 17mm and remove the last bolt. Then slide out the upper mount. Next, use a 14mm with extension in the same area we were working underneath the mount we just removed. Loosen and remove these 3 bolts. Use a jack to lift the engine. It's always best to lift on the bottom of the engine with a wood block. Using a 19mm deep socket, remove the engine mount nut and the bolt right next to it. Use a 17mm deep socket with extension to remove the last bolt on the top. Remove the bracket. And then loosen and remove the lower 2 bolts, allowing the rest of the engine mount to release and be removed. Get the new mount and prepare for install. Before installation, it's recommended to remove the upper bracket first with the 17mm. Drop the new mount into place. Use 17mm with extension to tighten the 2 lower bolts. Then torque them to 80 Nm or 59 foot-pounds. Reinstall the upper bracket. And use a 17mm deep socket to tighten. Then torque to 60 Nm or 45 foot-pounds. Hand start the bolt and the nut. Tighten with the 19mm socket on the impact. Then torque to 94 Newton meters or 70 foot-pounds. Reinstall the original body bracket and use a 14mm to tighten the 3 bolts. Use a 14mm short socket with a large quick-release short, extension bar, and a pneumatic ratchet wrench. Tighten the bolt of the engine mount and the body fixing bracket. Torque all 3 bolts to 60 Newton meters or 45 foot-pounds. Prepare your upper engine mount to install. And use the original hardware. After all 3 bolts are started, tighten with a 17mm deep socket on the impact. Then torque 290 Newton meters or 66 foot-pounds. Reinstall the mounting bolt for the AC low pressure line and for the grounding strap bolt. Tighten both bolts with the 10mm socket. Moving to the other side of the engine bay, use a 10mm socket to disconnect the battery terminal. Remove the terminal. Follow the battery cable and use your clip tool to free the cable as you go along. Use an 8mm socket with an electric impact wrench to loosen and remove these 2 screws. Pull up on the wire harness and move it out of the way. Slide the plastic cover off the ECU and use a ratchet wrench with a 10mm socket to remove the 3 bolts holding the ECU. Unplug the harnesses on the backside and pull the ECU out of the engine bay. Clip this line from the bracket and then pull up on the fuse box to allow us space to remove a bolt. Using a 10mm socket, remove the harness bolt. And the same 10mm socket to loosen the ECU bracket and pull out the bracket. Use a 14mm socket with a long extension on an impact. Loosen the 3 bolts to the transmission mounting bracket. Remove bracket. Use a jack to lift on the transmission. Use a 17mm deep socket to remove the 2 body side bolts of the transmission mount. same 17mm deep socket to loosen the bolt and the two nuts. You should now be able to remove the mount. You may need to roll the mount upside down to avoid other engine components on the way out. Grab your new transmission mount and place back into the install position. From here, use the original hardware and start reinstalling. 3 bolts and 2 nuts to get the hardware in place. Use a 17mm socket with extension on the impact to tighten the transmission mounting bolts. Move the 17mm with extension over to the torque wrench and tighten the same hardware, 290 Newton meters or 66 foot-pounds. Lower the jack and remove. Install the transmission mount bracket. Start the 3 bolts by hand. And then run the bolts on with a 14mm socket with extension. Set the torque wrench to 80 Newton meters or 59 foot-pounds. Set the engine ECU bracket back into place. Start the bracket bolt by hand, and also reattach the harness bolt. Use a 10mm socket to tighten. Secure the fuse box back into place. Clip the line back onto the ECU bracket. Install the engine ECU and connectors. Install the 3 bolts and use a 10mm socket with a ratchet wrench to tighten. Use an 8mm socket with an electric impact wrench. Tighten the fixing bolt of the power supply harness. Bring the battery cable back over to the fuse box and slide it into position. And use the 8mm bolts to reattach. Using an 8mm socket with electric impact, tighten the bolts and reinstall the fuse box cover. Secure the harness on the way back to the battery. Slide the plastic cover back over the engine ECU. Connect power back to the battery and use a 10mm socket with an impact to tighten. Remove the support rod and close the hood. Lift the vehicle Use a 17mm deep socket with impact to remove the 3 mounting bolts, 2 on the engine side and 1 on the body. Remove the engine lower mount. Remove the lower engine mount. Slide the new part into position and start the bolts. Tighten the hardware with the 17mm impact. Finish the project with a torque wrench set to 90 Nm or 66 foot-pounds.